Poland is one of the most popular hunting countries in Europe, and since the beginning of the 70s it's been a favourite with hunters from all over the world. They are mainly attracted to these enormous hunting grounds by the sought-after roe deer, red deer and wild boar. But there's also a fine variety of small game in the western regions of the country. After more than 40 years of dictatorship, Poland is on the way to better times, and nature conservation is no longer an unknown concept here. Naturally, it's the hunting that's of primary interest, but part of the success of a hunting expedition depends on the quality of the accommodation and the food. Normally, the Polish hosts do everything in their power to make guests feel at home. And this is especially the case when, as here, you're staying with the head keeper of the state forest's game preserves. The game preserves of the state forests in northwestern Poland are huge, from 8,000 to more than 30,000 hectares, and most of them offer varied, beautiful countryside with a dense population of roe deer. The spring and summer roebuck are hunted in Poland from the 11th of May to the 30th of September, and hunters are always accompanied by a Polish gamekeeper. Fields and damp stretches of moorland and bog lie like small flourishing oases in the deep forests. The crane, which has now mated and lives in the breeding grounds, can be seen here from the middle of May. The head keeper has a thorough knowledge of the preserve and its roe deer population. When he's pointed out a shootable buck, the stalk can begin. Apart from the larger population of roe deer, hunting the spring roebuck in Poland doesn't differ much from traditional roebuck hunting in other European countries. Roebuck hunting can be combined throughout the season with wild boar hunting. In May, June and July, tuskers and yearlings are shootable, while all wild boar may be shot from the 1st of August. Most commonly it's yearlings, that is, young boars from 1 to 2 years old that are shot, but many tuskers are also shot during the spring and summer months.
5 sztuk.
Cleaned out, a yearling weighs from 25 to 50 kilos, and roast leg of wild boar is a popular dish among the hunters who just can't keep out of the Polish cook's kitchen. The Polish spring is at its height by the end of May. The feeding roe deer are active and busily selecting the best from Mother Nature's menu. On this preserve, which is administered by the Ministry of Agriculture, roebuck hunting also takes the form of stalking combined with lying in wait. But here the keeper can place a horse and carriage at the disposal of the hunters. The preserve also has large herds of cattle. The many pastures and fields which cut through the forests mean that the terrain is an excellent biotope. It looks like an ideal roe deer biotope, but during the 80s too little hunting was done on many of the Polish preserves. This fact, combined with the mild winters of recent years, has resulted in an overpopulation of certain species of deer. Today, because of this, there are not as many medal-head roebuck as formerly, so hunters must normally content themselves with shooting the game that the Polish keeper points out. Deer culling is a natural part of the game and preserve conservation common to the Polish districts. Your hunting magazine is filled with promising offers of roebuck stalking in Poland. Many agencies offer hunting trips at fixed prices, but most experienced hunters prefer the price list arrangement, where a trophy fee is paid on the deer killed. Accommodation, food, a Polish gamekeeper and an interpreter or guide can be paid for from home. The interpreter is a condition for hunting in the Polish preserves. the rifle must have been zeroed. At many preserves, test shooting is required before beginning hunting. But if accidents do occur, it's worth noting that a fine must be paid for wounding deer.
Ja, ja. Goed. Oké. Acht jaar?
Ja, 8 jaar.
Ja. Oh, zo ja. Zeker wel. Goed.
Hunting in the roebuck's rutting season during the last half of July and the first half of August is different and exciting. During this period, it's possible to bell the rutting buck. But the more traditional stalking is also delightful on a hot July evening. The countryside buzzes with life, and a magnificent Polish midsummer is at its most beautiful. A roe is grazing peacefully with a fawn among the juicy plants, wild flowers and grasses.
Die Karre ist nicht fertig, ja?
Nein.
Tu nie ma przejazdu przez ten rów?
O nie, tu nie.
Trzeba wokoło jechać?
Tak, tu nie przyjedzie.
The Polish countryside should be experienced from a horse-drawn carriage. It's exactly the right pace to travel at and leaves the time to enjoy being close to the deer. In a corner of the field which hasn't been sprayed with insecticides, where wildflowers and bees interact in unspoiled harmony, we meet the Polish national bird. The stork is a bird of the steppes, which during the breeding season is often found close to human habitations. It migrates here from the Central African savanna in the early spring and seems to enjoy the warm, dry Polish continental climate. There are still many horse carriages of all kinds in Poland, but this luxury charabanc is rather less common.
Een kleine boek.
Here the Polish keeper has found something with the help of his binoculars. The roebuck is shootable and the stalking of the red Polish summer buck can begin.
Good boss. She said.
The roebuck has left a clear track and isn't difficult to find. Most Polish preserves have skilled dog handlers that can be used when necessary. Note the light, open forest and the flourishing vegetation, typical for this part of Poland, which has a very large population of roe deer. When in Rome, do as the Romans. In Poland, you're honoured with a sprig for your hat which has first been dipped in the deer's blood.
Special. The item.
During the winter months, driving rifle shooting is the great attraction in Poland. The hunting season is from the 10th of October until the 31st of January, and most hunting associations and state forest preserves have specialized in this form of hunting, which requires a dense game population. With the exception of trophy heads, there's free shooting without trophy fees during the Polish driving rifle shooting.
Ze swojej strony życzę dużo wrażeń, dużo uśmiechów i oczywiście dobrej pogody i rozkładu dużego. Ale święty Hubert, patron myśliwych, wynagrodzi.
I will sure that Saint Hubert will give you a prime.
The head keeper outlines the rules. An interpreter is present throughout the hunt so that nobody is in doubt as to the way things are organized. The posts are distributed according to the rules. Numbered cards are handed out so that each participant knows at the beginning of the day how many side, front and rear posts he must defend during the day. The number of hunters included in the drive differs from preserve to preserve. Most ordinary groups consist of 8 to 12 participants. Everyone was very excited about this red deer stag even before the day's first drive. But the big red deer stag seldom put in an appearance during this type of hunting. They generally try to get beyond range of the beaters and dogs and seek cover. Some red deer stags avoid being shot in this way, and this is obviously a necessity. Otherwise, this type of hunting would decimate the game, and this is not in the interests of the preserve or the hunter.
A sypniecie tam od Spyta do Kasztanowa z powrotem do Sypniewa, nie?
Tak, jadę od Spyta Kasztanowo do Sypniewa.
To jakby tam Rysiu...
Hunters must be ready to shoot the cloven-footed game that have been approved for shooting according to the keeper's instructions.
Ja dopiero z tego cielaka.
Wind direction is not decisive during the drive. It's more important to perform the drive correctly. There should not be too great a space between beaters, and 2 to 3 dogs at the right pace is usually an advantage. Driving rifle shooting makes great demands on safety. Not only the background must be in order, the field of fire must also be noted when each hunter is at his post. But naturally, it's still possible to miss completely. Polish roe deer are powerful animals. In western regions of Europe, they weigh as little as 12 kilos, whereas live weights of up to 40 kilos have been recorded in eastern Poland.
Ja, bitte. So?
And once more, when in Rome, on this Polish state forest preserve, a bizarre punishment is meted out to the unlucky hunter.
Ja, gut. Da. Und. Da. Ja. Und da.
A hunter's first wild boar rates 3 smacks on the backside.
That's good.
River.
If weather conditions permit, lunch is eaten in the open, even on a freezing January day. The menu: spicy Polish sausage, cabbage, wholemeal bread, and a little dram.
Så sitter en längst ner så här. Han smäcker då. Hela tiden sitter han och säger det. Så går han ut sist själv. Ram! då är det han.
If you haven't had any luck during the morning, there's no need to despair. The day is still long.
Żeby ten zagadnik tu zabrać.
Wasser.
Red deer have a tendency to appear in herds, and the deer flock together if they're driven too hard. It requires great self-control and caution to shoot an animal from the flock. Shooting running game needs a lot of practice. Most people need at least 2 shots to kill one deer. Animals are sometimes wounded during the drive, but they're usually found and dispatched after the drive has been stopped.
Andreas, zwei geflogen.
Jeden to tylko tak.
Ja.
A ten drugi dostał w dupę z tych 4, co wyleciały, nie? I tam...
Ale jego trzeba. Mocny jak ty. Ale bądź strzał.
Det er et oplagt medlemskab af Somorderklubben, det der, hva'?
Nu ønsker vi ikke indblanding i vores beslutning.
Er det ikke det?
Du skal da bare lukke. Du har lige selv siddet og sagt, at kommer han til mig, så skyder han.
Jeg vil lige våge påstå, at det her er medlem.
Jamen, jeg er gladelig gået med. Det værste var,
Det er et emne.
det var ikke meget for indrømme, men der var en lille ånd med. Jeg hammer forbi det, ikke?
There would normally be 20 to 30 deer in the bag after 3 days driving. This means an average of 2 to 3 head per man. Red deer stag are much sought after game in Poland. The hunting season is from the 21st of August to the 28th of February. But the rutting season, which is from the middle of September to the beginning of October, appeals to most hunters. These sequences were taken at one of the big state forest preserves north of the town of Wrocław in western Poland. A powerful red deer stag is busily trying to keep the rutting herd together. The weaker or younger competitors are chased off. Normally, the rutting herds of mature stags number about 20 hinds. But on this preserve, with an estimated autumn population of between 600 to 700 deer, rutting herds of 30 to 40 individuals are not uncommon. This stag is a typical stag going back. Its antlers are still thick at the base, but thinner higher up, and it has only a few points. The weight of the antlers would probably be about 6 kilos, so this is another desirable trophy. The keeper has also indicated this as a deer which should be shot. The most powerful red deer live in the Carpathians in southwestern Poland. The weight of red deer antlers here is as high as 10 to 12 kilos. This weight is reached when the deer is 10 to 12 years old, and it's not unusual for a red deer of this age in the Carpathians to weigh 230 kilos when cleaned out. We're at the Stupasiani State Preserve, which has an area of 9,600 hectares. Here there are roe deer, red deer, European bison, wolves, bears, lynx and wild boar. The Carpathian red deer are not only visibly bigger, the shape of the animal's head also appears longer. Scientists also describe it as a particular geographical species within the European red deer's area of distribution. During October, the red deer must often be stalked in the dense forest areas where it lives with its rutting herd. Here, a younger deer has been indicated as shootable, as it's only been able to attract a couple of hinds to it. Hunting on these wooded mountain slopes is difficult. In this case, the keeper and the hunter had to stalk for more than an hour and a half before the deer appeared. The hunter is asked to be in readiness while the keeper studies the deer more closely. Unfortunately, the stag suddenly makes a jump. But as it was a younger animal, it would probably not have been shootable anyway. When stalking in the Carpathians, the hunter must be prepared to walk for many miles every day through this pathless terrain. Here, the gamekeeper attempts to call a mature stag out of the dense undergrowth. Stags will not tolerate other stags within their territory, and this method often gives the chance of a shot. The stag, however, won't respond, and wind conditions make a stalk impossible.
Lad dieser Hirschen.
Ja.
Ja. Ja, ja.
To jest, to
Ja, ja.
wszystkie po stronach.
Ja, ja. Gut Hirschen.
Ja, tak, wiesz, prost.
Here, a bear has taken a cow. Poland, where the estimated bear population is roughly 100 animals, is the only Eastern European country where bears may not be hunted. The European brown bear is decidedly a forest dweller, which here in the Carpathians can weigh up to 500 kilos. By comparison, the weight of a Scandinavian bear is about 150 to 250 kilos. Bears are very fond of plundering the nests of wild bees. They also demolish anthills and eat both the ants and their larvae. The next stalk was successful. Here, the keeper is congratulating the lucky hunter on his magnificent trophy head. The antlers on this powerful 14-pointer stag weigh around 7.5 kilos. And for the last time, when in Rome, here at Stuposiani, the hunter is honored in a very special way. The gamekeeper sticks a knife into the heart of the dead animal and wipes it on the forehead of the happy Nimrod.
Świętego Huberta. Dobrze. Dobry jeleń. Może być. Good trochę.
Poland is a wonderful hunting country. The countryside is beautiful and varied, and such as very few other countries in Europe can offer. And on most preserves there is a flourishing, dense game population. But Poland also has charming, helpful inhabitants who are well worth visiting for their own sakes. Good hunting if you try your skill in Poland.